going on, YouTubers? Happy Saturday afternoon. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of this week's episode of NXT. The July 22nd, 2020 edition of NXT, exactly 2 months now till my birthday. This show took place, of course, once again, at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. We are starting to set the stage for our next TakeOver pay-per-view that I will try my best to do card predictions for both this and SummerSlam sometime this week. We'll hope so. Once again, my sister's last week in town, so it might be a little chaotic, but I will do my best to get these card predictions out for you guys, as we're already kind of setting up some matches for this show, which should, again, be very interesting for sure, as it's going to be, for what I'm hearing, NXT TakeOver 30. That's the thing I heard that they're going to be calling the next NXT TakeOver, which makes sense to me. I mean, what else you would really want to call it? Well, they had to pull out some type of other theme if they really wanted to do like another theme at this point, because I think, even though, again, the pay-per-view is not as high quality as most NXT TakeOvers, I did like how they kind of played into the In Your House theme at the next NXT TakeOver. So I guess the NXT TakeOver 30 works for me since it's the 30th TakeOver pay-per-view. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, I think the show did a very good job setting up for that show. We had a major announcement to start the show. We had a pretty darn good main event. A nice triple threat match, gotta say. A good match between Oney Lorcan and Timothy Thatcher. And then we had one thing, of course. Like, again, I keep going back to this. That I'm really not that big of a fan of it all right now. Besides, of course, how micromanaged the NXT crowd is. But of course, the one storyline, again, I'm just really not digging at all. Which we'll get into that in a little bit. I know I kind of praised it a little bit last week, but then it was brought back a little bit down for me again this week. So we'll talk about it. So, first, live chat. What's up, Tia Couponer? Thank you for joining me live. I'm not doing too bad. It's Saturday. Nice weather. About to go out and see some friends later today, and then play softball tomorrow, and watch some scary movies. I survived the last time. I can survive 3 more, I guess. So let's roll into the show and talk about it. So, it was announced last week that we're going to be getting a major announcement from General Manager William Regal this week's episode. So, Regal welcomes us to the show and says we're doing a huge announcement. He kicks it over to the NXT champion and the NXT North American champion, Keith Lee, who's sitting at a desk with both of his titles. He offers a shout out to his mentor, Tim Brooks, who talks about opportunities that makes him a champ. And in the spirit of those opportunities, he's made the difficult decision to relinquish the NXT North American Championship. So that many people get an opportunity to win it as possible, just like he did. So go back to Regal, who says that starting tonight, there will be a series of triple threat matches with the winner advancing to the ladder match. A 6-man ladder match, I believe it is, which of course those ladder matches never cease to disappoint. Which are going to happen at, again, for what I'm hearing, NXT TakeOver 30. I guess that's what it's going to be called. I'm not 100% sure for sure, but that's what I'm hearing. But Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, and Roderick Strong will be that first triple threat match, which will happen on this week's show. So, definitely a little surprised that they did just keep both belts on Keith Lee. I would have liked to have seen him maybe have like a title defense. Well, okay, he did technically have one title defense last week, putting both titles on the line against his longtime rival and good friend, Dominik Dijakovic, which we'll talk about him for sure later on in this show. But I get why he did it. He wants to give more opportunities, just like, he made his way to the top. What's the sense of having both titles, as he thinks? Obviously it was opportunities that got him up to where he got to. So, to give those opportunities, he's given up the North American Championship, saying, hey, I don't want it, it's all yours. I'm at the top with the NXT title, go for it. So, good way to open up the show. And again, we'll be getting another ladder match, which again, those are awesome. We gotta think about the ladder matches we got in NXT, especially best ones in my opinion still is that 6-man ladder match for the first ever North American champion at Takeover New Orleans. Again, in my opinion, still the best takeover of all time, and that ladder match is definitely one of the best matches in NXT history, I gotta say. The women's ladder match for the number one contender at the matches that would have taken place at NXT Takeover Tampa, those were good. That was a good match. And of course, also that fatal 4-way ladder match, Takeover 25, between the Street Profits, Forgotten Sons, Lorcan and Birch, and the Undisputed Era, another excellent ladder match. So I'm definitely excited to see about that ladder match. We already got one good candidate in there, I gotta say, which we'll talk about him in a little bit. So yeah, Keith Lee has relinquished the North American Championship, but of course until then, because I'm pretty sure what's going to happen at Takeover 30. I'm going to keep. Well, I finally found a graphic with Keith Lee with both the NXT and North American Championships, so I think I'll just keep that graphic how it is for now, even though he technically is no longer the NXT North American Champion. So we'll see who gets it next. I have some ideas in mind who I'd like to see get it, but looking forward to seeing who it is. So we open up the show with a match between Dexter Lumis and Killian Dane. It was a solid match, and Dexter Lumis wins by submission. I am growing more on Dexter Lumis. I think his feud with Roderick Strong did help him, shut off some of the cobwebs. I still continue to say this. What the heck happened to Killian Dane? Really, I just don't get, why he's, he feels so reduced anymore. He just isn't the same he was fighting the number one contenders matches for the NXT Championship right before he went up to the main roster. And again, I keep baffled by saying, of all people in Sanity that didn't get a push on the main roster, why not Killian Dane? Seriously, Killian Dane, big man, agile, whatnot. Heck, the Killian Dane we saw before he went up to SmackDown, I wouldn't have minded seeing him have a match with Keith Lee. If Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic put on great agility matches and power matches, what about Keith Lee and Killian Dane? They could easily put on a good match if we get the Killian Dane from before he went to SmackDown. I'm dead serious. So I just continue to be disappointed as seeing Killian Dane now in NXT as being kind of squandered to nothing pretty much. So Dexter Lumis gets the win with a submission. He's actually going to be in the second triple threat match that takes place next week. It's going to be Dexter Lumis, Finn Balor, and Timothy Thatcher. I'm hoping maybe they put Dexter in that ladder match, but I'd like to see either him or Thatcher get in there. And I would say, here's the thing. If Lumis does not win the match, and Thatcher does instead, I'd say have a match with him and Finn Balor at the next TakeOver. Why not? I actually think that'd be interesting. Based off the promo we got later on from Balor, the mind games those two are able to play, I'd like to actually have a match at TakeOver, at TakeOver 30. What do you say? TakeOver 30? Let's go. We then have an interview backstage and with the upcoming, Roderick Strong. So Roderick Strong says it's been a weird few weeks, but tonight he's getting back on track. Bronson Reed comes out and says this is about opportunities, and the Undisputed Era has had plenty. Here comes Johnny Gargano and says, face of the brand coming through, I win tonight, and win the North American Championship again at TakeOver. Roddy leaves as he and Johnny mention that they hate each other, which of course, why wouldn't they? Gargano dismisses Thick Boy, then Reed gets the last word. Tonight he's going all out, okay, and a little bit awkward, but whatever. We then see highlights of what happened in last week's main event with Io Shirai and Tegan Nox, which was a great match for sure. Again, playing off Tegan Nox's story very good, taking her to another level, I would still say. And then, of course, seeing how Dakota Kai attacked Io Shirai after the match, and then Dakota Kai Skypes in to tell Io she'll be waiting when the taste returns to her mouth. She reminds Io to bring the NXT Women's title with her. So it looks like we're probably going to be getting the women's title match at TakeOver 30 is going to be Io Shirai and Dakota Kai, which works for me. And if Dakota wins, I'm fine with that. I think Dakota's had good momentum as a heel. I mean, yes, Tegan Nox has gotten her comeuppance already on her, which kind of ruins that. But I'd be interested to see what Dakota and Io could do. So cool. But again, I'm still confused as to what dynamic Io is. I still can't tell if she's a face or a heel. I can't tell really. Still leaning more towards face, but I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, let's roll into this further. We have a match with Breezango and Everrise. Decent match. Again, what's up with the tag team division though right now in NXT? Like, it feels like it doesn't even matter. Are the champs Barthel and Eichner still around right now? I mean, I don't know if they are, but the depth has really fallen off with the NXT tag team division. I mean, yeah, there's still the Undisputed Era, but Kyle O'Reilly's not there. He hasn't been wrestling for months since the pandemic began. I mean, again, in this year, not a fan of them at all. Breezango I like. I do like Eichner and Barthel, but I just feel like they're just just holding the titles and don't really have anything to them. So I'm confused by that. And then we still have Lorcan and Birch, but again, starting to question, what's up with tag team wrestling in WWE? Main roster and NXT. I mean, I'm sure, we'd be still getting stuff from, because there were teasing a feud with grizzled young veterans, of course, before the pandemic happened. So obviously there were some teams in the NXT UK that were going to be coming over to NXT. But, who knows? So, we've got that. So, Breezango defeats Everrise by pinfall. They also came out dressed up as Mounties, which I thought was funny. Again, I still like how, again, they're at least coming out dressed up as something different each week and just being something, being entertaining. I like Ross, they just be coming out, as just Breezango. Just Tyler Breeze and Fandango combined their names together. Although, once again, they were getting somewhere with the Fashion Files, but then they kept advertising each week, and they canceled it, and it just wasn't funny anymore. So, I am whatever about this tag team division right now, but who knows. Anyways, we then have Dijakovic being interviewed by Mackenzie Mitchell. What's the difference between tonight and last week? Last week, Karrion Kross caught him after going to war with Keith. Tonight, he's going to get a fresh DD. He was wondering what was next for him. Now he knows it's knocking Karrion Kross out. And then we get a tweet from Io Shirai responding to Dakota Kai and says, actions have consequences, and she's ready for Dakota. And, of course, again, we're probably going to get that match at TakeOver 30. So then we have Shotzi Blackheart and Aaliyah in a decent match. Again, last week I gave a little bit of a rub to the Robert Stone brand, this whole idea with them trying to, help out Indy Hartwell. Then, okay, newbie, maybe Indy Hartwell will join the Robert Stone brand. Nah, I don't know if that's happening now because Shotzi beat Aaliyah. After the match, Shotzi ran over Robert Stone's other leg. I think she ran over the other one previously and just kept him in pain. Which, again, it's just what are we doing with this? And then out comes Mercedes Martinez, who beats down on Shotzi Blackheart. And basically later just, grabs Robert Stone and says, I need someone who will do the behind-the-scenes work for me and let me do my work in the ring. Who will that be you? He's like, yes, I accept. But, once again, I'm just why is Mercedes Martinez... I mean, I know last week I said, having a new face like Indy Hartwell don't know about being, recruited by the Robert Stone brand or something different. Okay, but, again, Mercedes Martinez had nothing to do with the outcome of that match. And, again, it's the same thing with Andrade and Garza on the main roster. They're really going back and forth with this stuff with the Robert Stone brand. One week it's working, next week it's not, and it's working, it's not. And I get the whole trial by error thing, but it's just really getting old. I'm not a fan of it at all. I still don't get why they split up Stone and Chelsea Green. I mean, Chelsea Green's not been seen since. Maybe she's either out with an injury or she's playing it safe with, the pandemic. But I still don't get why they split them up randomly. Again, I'm still not digging it. So, we have that. Then, we have a video package with Isaiah Swerve Scott. Covers his upbringing and what music means to him. He talks about the opportunity he got to face Gargano and tells us he's got his eyes on Santos Escobar in the Cruiserweight Championship. So maybe we're going to be seeing that match take over 30. Could be a good match. We had the triple threat match with Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, and Roderick Strong. The first of the qualifying triple threat matches for the 6-man ladder match for the NXT North American Championship at TakeOver 30. For the vacated NXT North American Championship at TakeOver 30. Great match. What can I say? Of course, I like at the beginning of the match, Johnny and Roddy were outside of the ring, and they were just like, okay, you want to work together and try to take him out? No, you first, arguing back and forth. It's okay, we'll get in 1, 2, 3. Before either of them slid in, they just like stopped, turned around, and they were just like, I knew you were going to do that pretty much. But the match was pretty good. I definitely think it was really showcasing, because I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think it was sometime in the Great American Bash, I think it happened, we did have Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed. And I liked how it kind of had, like, it was kind of like not as big of a version, but kind of like a toned down version of whenever Keith Lee went toe to toe with Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. And that's what it felt like with Bronson Reed and Karrion Kross. So I think this match really took Bronson Reed to another level, I thought. He worked well, I thought, with Roddy and Gargano, the NXT veterans. And, of course, he had to, deal with a bunch of double teams. And eventually, Bronson Reed wins with the Frog Splash. I think Strong hit a double knee gut buster. But then we had what's his face? We had a gut buster after a lawn dart. But then Gargano followed up with an enziguri and hit the one final beat on Roddy. But then Bronson Reed hits a frog splash on Strong afterwards. And then Bronson Reed pins Roddy, which I'm glad he pinned Roddy and not Johnny, because Johnny's been taking too many pins lately, I feel like. And Bronson Reed is advancing to the North American Championship ladder match at TakeOver 30, which I like. Fresh face. He's had a couple good matches recently, again with Karrion Kross, and this win here in the triple threat. I like it. So I'm completely cool with Bronson Reed getting this opportunity. Will he win it? I wouldn't mind him seeing him as North American Champion. And I still have a couple other people in mind. I gotta see the entire field play out, I'd say, first. But that would be good. So we got that. Live chat, in the live chat. Good move by Keith to drop the title. I think the last spot in the ladder match should be awarded to the winner of a battle royale. Ooh, quite possibly, kind of like a second chance battle royale. Maybe get like a veteran like Gargano or Balor in there. Maybe. Well, okay. I'm still saying if Dexter Lumis, I think because next week triple threat is going to be Lumis, Balor, and Thatcher. And I think it should either be Lumis or Thatcher who wins it. But if Lumis doesn't win it, I think he should face Balor at TakeOver 30. But anyway, so then we had, speaking of Thatcher, we had a rematch with Timothy Thatcher and Oney Lorcan. And I thought they had another pretty good match. They had a good match at the Bash recently. The Great American Bash is continuing the story of Timothy Thatcher being built up of one of the the greatest submission technician wrestlers. And I think him and I think him and Lorcan have had this great chemistry so far and given him those wins. So again, Thatcher is a guy I think would really benefit. I don't know, Thatcher I think could win I think is definitely a top candidate, I think, to win the NXT North American Championship. But I really like what they've been doing with him. So Thatcher wins, and again, I still kind of pushing for him to get over Lumis to get into that ladder match. I think he'd be excellent in that match. And after the match, because that's when we got the interview with Robert Stone, and Mercedes Martinez pretty much said she joined the Robert Stone brand. We have a Finn Balor promo thanking Lee for the opportunity, but says at his level he doesn't need charity. But he will take the North American title at TakeOver. It's one of the only titles he has not held. He has bad news for Thatcher and Lumis. Their push ends next week, and he will face them in the triple threat qualifying match. And then we have our main event. Oh boy, was this a great match. Karrion Kross and Dominik Dijakovic. You know how I said I thought, Bronson Reed was like that, unexpected name that kind of I kind of, made Kross, wake up a little bit more. I think Dijakovic made Kross even look even better as well. Because Kross is putting all of it out there. Dijakovic, though, was following it up very well. And he even was overpowering Kross at times. It was awesome. It was just a great way to, again, hold on to make Dijakovic look strong in the loss, but kind of make Karrion Kross like more of a dangerous side of Karrion Kross would come out in this match, I thought. And I would say, of course, the big turning point in this match was whenever Kross had beaten down Dijakovic outside the ring, and he takes Dijakovic, slides him in between the steps and the post underneath the ring, and then literally drop kicks the steps, slamming into Dijakovic. Dijakovic, I thought, was going to get TKO'd. I think I literally think he got knocked out. It was a deadly spot, and the referee was counting him out. I thought he was going to count him out, but Kross didn't want to finish it that way. Kross pulled out Dijakovic, who again was out cold, drags him into the ring, and he basically holds him down in a key lock, as I call it. You hold the arm over his head. That's what I call it when it's in the martial arts, a key lock. So, and then he literally starts doing blows elbows to Dijakovic's face. I'm like, okay, I thought he was gonna put him in the cross jacket or something there. But then out comes Keith Lee. Because obviously, again, Dijakovic has pushed Kross further to his limit that he even thought of. So obviously, Kross is realizing, hey, I gotta even bring out more of a scary side of me. And he sure did. Because Keith Lee is first off begging, Dijakovic to, stop. No, this isn't worth it, man. He's basically about to try to throw him the towel for his longtime friend. But Dijakovic's rolling over, barely conscious, and it's no, it's only over when I say so. And even though Kross kept beating down on him, he's no, you're gonna have to beat every last breath out of me, pretty much. And then again, Lee finally backs off, but immediately, this is my favorite part of the match. I don't know why. This was a oh my goodness moment. You just felt the pain that Keith was in watching his friend get literally torn apart and had every last breath beaten out of him by Karrion Kross. But basically, Keith Lee was trying to back off and respect what Dijakovic was saying about let me do this. It's not over till I say so. Kross went to put him back in that key lock, and then Kross just bam threw a sucker knockout punch right into it. You could tell it squarely hit Dijakovic right in the jaw, and I was just he's got to be out. That wasn't intended to be just a punch to wear him down for one of those punches, or a ground and pound. That was literally a straight knockout punch. I'm just damn, that literally blew, just nailed him right on the money. When you nail a baseball or nail a punch right on the money, that punch was right on the money. Knocked out Dijakovic dead cold, and then Kross picks up Dijakovic, puts him in the cross jacket right in front of Keith Lee, and Dijakovic passes out. So it was a submission slash referee match stoppage, whatever you want to call. That's actually good match stoppage. Not the match stoppage disqualification finish we got at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view last year. Yes, I'm saying that again. That was disqualification. That wasn't match stoppage. Still dumb, but it was an excellent main event. Of course, afterwards, Lee came in to check on Dijakovic as he stares down Karrion Kross, as it's obvious Karrion Kross is coming right for the throat. He is going for Keith Lee's title. And basically, this was, okay, you thought Karrion Kross was dangerous before with how he just wiped the floor with Tommaso Ciampa. Well, Dijakovic brought out an even more dangerous side of Karrion Kross. Showing that Kross says, if I have to go to another level to take that NXT championship off of you, Keith, I'm sure as hell gonna do it. Man, what a great match. Again, that steel step spot and that freaking like punch that he just nailed Dijakovic square on the moneymaker with. I'm like, jeez, oh man. I just when you think they can't, like, make him look any more dangerous, they sure did. I loved it. So Cross wins. That's how we go off the air. And that's going to end this review for NXT. Gave this week's show a B+. Great show in general. Again, other than the Robert Stone brand stuff, thought it was excellent. Let me see here. Great main event match that helps up a future main event takeover match. Definitely for sure, Tina Couponer. But guys, that's going to do it. That's my live review of NXT. Again, got a lot of stuff happen on this show, but it was great. Again, gave it a B+. B+ show. But of course, that excellent main event I still can't stop putting over. What are your thoughts on this week's episode of NXT? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure to slap a like on the video. Subscribe more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBrony3. Probably sometime later tonight. I'm going to a party soon. I will come back up here and do a recap and watch the SmackDown highlights, see what happened with SmackDown, talk about SmackDown. And like I said, I will hopefully also this week try to do NXT TakeOver 30 and SummerSlam card predictions, and also keep the Harry Potter Let's Plays rolling as well. So guys, that's going to do it. I'm checking out. Have a good rest of your Saturday. I will be back up here later on to do a SmackDown review. So until then, guys, have a great day. Peace out, everybody.